microphones and stand for the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Chief will be right back. He brought my report for me.
I'm sorry?
He said the chief will be right back. He brought my report for me.
Mr. Platt, welcome back. We all
Yes.
appreciate it. Appreciate you being here this evening. Good to see you. Would you do a attendance roll call, please?
Yeah, I will for sure. Just one thing, in doing the minutes the last few days, I heard all the kind words that were said. I greatly appreciate it. That's great. Mayor Roman,
Here.
President Percy,
Here.
Vice President Campabianco.
Here.
Mr. Bull.
Here.
Mr. Costa. Here. Ms. Giannis.
Here.
Mrs. Haynes.
Here.
Mrs. Scrova.
Here.
Chief Murray.
Here.
Mr. Wills.
Here.
Mrs. Canyon.
Here.
Mrs. Stillwell. Lee. And Daniel's our only junior council member.
I'll entertain a motion to accept the June council meeting minutes.
Make a motion to pass last month's minutes.
Second.
Any questions on the motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? So moved. Mr. Secretary, do you have any correspondence for this evening?
No, Madam President. There is none.
We'll move on to the mayor's report.
There is our learning treasure.
Thank you, President. Crimes reported in June, none. Calls of service was 185. The most prevalent medical emergencies, there were 13. Domestic, 7. Suspicious persons, 2. Animal complaint was 3. Building checks, 11. Assist with other agencies, 37. There were 3 accidents, 19 traffic details, 40 motor vehicle stops, traffic citations, there were 12, and 28 warnings. That's all I have for that.
Madam President, could I just make just 2 quick comments? As council knows, we got the grant for the 2 police cars. Those cars have been ordered. They are expected probably late September timeframe. And I have met with Councilman Capabianco to discuss how we'll put those in service and what we'll do with the cars that we have. And, so we've developed a plan and we're working on that. We'll keep council appraised as we move forward.
Super, thank you, Chief. Chief Lamy from the fire company, do you have a report this evening?
Parkside Fire Company Chief's Report for June 2024. The fire company reported 40 incidents for the month of June. Fires 8, rescue and emergency medical incidents 18, hazardous conditions with no fire 3, good intent calls 1, false alarms 5, special incident types. We have had a EVOC class and 9 members passed. Congratulations to all of them. We have a pump class coming up that will be held at the Upland Fire Company. This will certify our members are trained in pump operations. We will be having an EMR class at the Parkside Fire Company in August. This class will help better serve the residents of the borough. It is a class that will take over a month to do. Our members will be giving up their free time to take this class. Our TAC 45 was sent to Interstate for repairs when the steering has been fixed and is now back in service. We will continue to do in-house training. These trainings will be done to better prepare our members. Our new hose has arrived and TAC 45 is outfitted with new hose and nozzles. This was possible from an $80,000 grant. We will continue to upgrade our equipment to better serve the residents of Parkside. This Saturday, the fire company will be hosting our summer splash. All are welcome to come out and to cool off and have some fun. This will be held at the firehouse. As always, we have the food pantry that supports everyone in need. It's through your donations that keep it open. So any non-perishable food items are welcome. The fire company is gaining new members every month. They bring some good experience with driving and firefighting. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Chief. Our fire marshal is not here this evening. He's been excused. Mr. Clark, did you leave a report?
I do, I have one. Fire marshal report for June 2024. Progress, no call-outs. Continued inspection of commercial property. Emergency management, final review of emergency operations procedure. Met with County Department of Emergency Services to start paperwork for the hazardous mitigation plan for the borough. And that's all there is.
Super, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we have called a citizens agenda item only. If you'd like to ask a question concerning agenda items only, this is your opportunity. Hearing none, we will move on to the president's report. I'd like to thank Henry Sidlow for working on his Eagle Scout project at Oak Island. He's put a lot of time and effort into it. I'm not sure if the project is complete, but would like to thank him for his efforts. Last month, a resident came to council concerning her concerns over a community garden in the woodlot. At that time, I did not have the deed with me, and I'd like to just note a few things in the deed. I won't read the whole thing, I promise. The deed was dated 27th of May, 1975, from the owners Peter Anthony Feo and his wife Marie. It gives the normal latitude, longitudes, county, state information as it normally would. And it continues to say containing 6.154 acres of land, more or less, to have and to hold the said lot or piece of ground above described unto the said grantee as successors and assigners forever as said for a public park and no other use or purpose therein. And this was recorded with the County of Delaware. So I wanted to make mention that that deed is now in my possession and that it allows for only a public park facility. And again, there's no water down there. We have wildlife issues. Moving on, council's made the determination that we will not be applying for a community development block grant this year. We do not have any eligible programs or blighted properties that fall within the realm of this application. It has come to my attention while we were researching an ordinance that our ordinances have not been codified since September of 2022. This process has apparently fallen through the cracks. I would like to thank our secretary who's made contact with General Code Company to have all of our ordinances up until April of this year codified. So that once they're codified, our residents can go on to E-Code and look up the correct information for that specific ordinance. Apparently another problem has arisen concerning our highway occupancy permit or traffic signal permit for the Beacon project last year. This may or may not have fallen through the cracks. We're currently unsure if the permit application was closed. PennDOT has notified the borough and our engineer that this application must be closed out, or of course, it will be ended. Once again, I'd like to remind everybody, please check our website. It's one of the better websites, no offense to any other community out there, because we're chock full of information. Our ordinances, right to know information, financial information, our budget, anything you want to know is right there. So please take advantage of our wonderful website. I'd like to thank publicly PennDOT and our engineer. As everybody is aware, we have had a sinking issue on Edgemont Avenue for several years. With the heat, 4th of July, it sunk even more. Several days later, and thank you to our fire company, they were dispatched. It sunk even, can I say even better? I think that's true. Further. Ms. Catania and PennDOT got together, and you will see a plate put over the area on Edgemont Avenue at Forest View. Ms. Catania and I have spoken. If we do not receive word or some type of confirmation that the grant we applied for to do the construction on this project, we will move forward. So that at our August council meeting, council will have to have authorization for the engineer to bid this project out if we do not receive grant confirmation. And it cannot continue any further. We will be using COVID funds, which I've advised the treasurer that if we do not get the grant, then we're going to proceed on our own and take care of this problem. Enough is enough. The trash contract, this is the year we bid out our trash contract. I think just from what I'm hearing from our residents, and I ask people when we speak because we're getting close to that point, they seem to be happy with the twice a week pickup, once a week recycling, and the heavy trash. So I would like council members to think if you want any changes, if you talk to any of the residents that wish any changes, to be prepared for August meeting to authorize the engineer to bid out our trash project. So with that, unless somebody has any questions, we have a busy next several months. Between the trash contract, I will be sending council some information on another contract that we must look at. And I thank you, and if you have any questions, please let me know. Moving on, we will go to Councilman Bull, Finance Report.
Thank you, Madam President, Council, and ladies and gentlemen. We have the reports at Borough Parkside, date July 12th, 2024, for meeting July 17th, 2024. All bank accounts are reconciled through June 30th, except for Sharon Bank Escrow and Green Tree Escrow account, for the reason they don't have statements for those accounts. We're including reconciliation and statements for all reconciled funds for council's approval. General fund for the month of June, $14,558.95 was deposited into TD Bank, and expenses of $4,191.51 was paid. During this period, $14,239 of deposits were received in Sharon Bank general fund, and I'm not 100% sure this number is accurate, so I'm going to redact that one for right now.
The 564,
Yeah.
Yes.
yeah, excuse me, that includes a $400,000 transfer from Pliget to the Pliget account from Sharon Bank. So it's really 164,000 of expenses.
I kind of thought it was, but then I didn't see it down there. So,
Yeah.
okay. So there was a internal bank transfer to the general fund, which is reflected as an expense here of $564,294.83, including payroll of $60,845.91. At this time, I would like to make a motion to accept the treasurer's report.
Yes. Any questions on the motion? All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? So moved.
At this time, I would like to make a motion to pay the bills.
For a second.
I need a second to pay the
I'll
bills.
second.
Any questions?
I have a question.
Yes.
Regarding the payment to the fire company, has we adopted the recommendations laid out by the treasurer in the audit?
We have thus far not formally adopted the recommendations. It's my understanding representatives of council and the borough treasurer will be meeting with the fire chief to see about implementing those recommendations. So that is something that is in the works. There has been no formal adoption of those recommendations to date.
And can I say, like, for the record, there are a couple transactions that I believe are from last month,
Yes.
but they are not
Yes.
repeating. So my apologies, I should have made that more clear. We'll just have to have a review of those, but they will not no other checks were written as far as that.
As everybody, and I didn't get a chance to talk to our treasurer, everybody noted the fire company's second quarter check was listed on the list of bills through the treasurer's report. That was voted on last month. So for some reason, this is hitting again.
Yeah, well, it's listed the timing of it, like, so we list the whole month of June, and then we list June 20th to July 15th, but I'll have her change that for next month.
Thank you. Mr. Platt, would you please do a roll call vote on the bills for approval?
Bills for approval. Mr. Vogt,
Yes.
Mr. Capabianco,
Abstain. The reason, of course, is
Conflict of interest.
with regard to the code enforcement officer thing. To the best of my knowledge, there is no conflict of interest with regard to all the other bills. So you can limit your abstention to only one of those bills if you so choose.
Only one I got abstained.
Okay.
Do it every month.
Mr. Costigan,
Yes.
Mrs. Janikis,
Yes.
Mrs. Hayes.
I abstained from check number 4320. My-
4320.
Yes. My husband works for the company we get our newsletters printed from, and he got us the best price with his employee discount.
Mrs. Percival,
Yes.
Mrs. Skrobak,
Yes.
5 yeas, 2 partial abstentions.
Super, thank you. Mr. Paul?
And I want to apologize, there were a few things I missed. I just did not get a chance to reply during business hours, and being in the heat of summer, be it an excuse or whatever it is, we reconcile every month, and any problems we get sorted out. And no extra checks were written. So with that, I would like to move along to the open space report. There's not a whole lot to the report, other than it was very nice that the contractors that did the hydraulic jacking of the concrete over there were not happy with their own work and actually came back and did a little bit more. Just called me out of the blue, like, hey, we were doing an inspection and we're gonna come over and do just a little bit more. So I thought that was top notch, so. And with that, I will report general progress.
Super, thank you. Mr. Costigan, I'm guessing the junior council people are on vacation, so you have no report this evening?
The only item I have is the application for the coming year. I was talking with the junior council members, and we decided on August 1st will be the deadline for that, and then early August we'll do interviews with people who are interested. So anybody who's interested, a high school student that lives in the borough, interested in learning more about local government, feel free to apply by August 1st. The application is on the borough website.
Super, thank you. Mayor, do you want to give the recreation report?
Before I give mine, Madam President, could Daniel does have something he wants to say about junior council. Daniel has something he'd like to say.
So regarding the garden down at the woodlot, I'm sure a lot of you guys know that a tree fell down there. So the digging area, 2 of the 3 trees that were down there were broken from the one tree that fell. Also, while we're on the topic of the garden, the letters that I made regarding businesses, I'm going to be giving out more of those this week. And hopefully I can get started on it whenever that's possible, but because of the heat wave, I don't think anyone wants to work out. So that's pretty much it.
Okay, well, thank you, Madam President. First of all, I want to thank our Recreation Committee volunteer. I want to continue to thank them for everything they do. The community, myself, everybody appreciates what our volunteers are constantly doing to have different events for everybody, for all the residents and everything. July 4th, we had our annual Independence Day Parade. If you were out there, you know it was a scorcher. It's always a scorcher every year. Doesn't want to calm down on the weather. We gave out 3 prizes. We had late refreshments. And I want to thank Chief Lamey, because I spoke, we went through with text and everything in reference to bringing the hose out. So he hooked the hose up out in the back, in the field and everything, and the kids enjoyed it, the water. I enjoyed the water. Also, August 6th is National Night Out. We got invited, and Chief, I'm not sure too much of the details on it yet, but we got invited to Brookhaven for our National Night Out. So Parkside will be with Brookhaven that night. Some of us, the people on the recreation went there last year. We were looking to try to get as many of our volunteers to go out and support our officers, but ask the residents to support the officers too. The recreation committee is also doing a scavenger hunt. We're still in like trying to put the details together. We're doing that in September, October 26th. We put a request in for the school parking lot to do our trunk or treat again. Following that, we're going to do a movie night in their multi-purpose room. If you have any questions or anything like that, and you want to keep up with any of our events, you can always get on our Facebook page at Parkside Recreation Committee Bulletin, or email is parksiderec19015@gmail. We have the little flyer, I don't have it on me, but we have the flyers of the events. We still have some in the office if you need one. Our next meeting is August 7th here at the Borough at 6:30, and volunteers are always welcome. That's all I have to say.
Just as a follow-up to the mayor's report, National Night Out is August 6th from 6 to 8 p.m. at the Brookhaven Municipal Center.
Thank you, Chief.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you. Moving on to Police Public Safety, Vice President Capabianco.
Thank you, Madam President. Public safety, I can report general progress. Code enforcement, I can report general progress. For license and inspection for the month of June, there were 8 building permits, 3 plumbing, and 1 mechanical. And that's all I have.
Super, thank you. Moving on to ordinance, resolutions, grants, Mrs. Furback.
Yes, thank you, Madam President. The listed is the adoption of Resolution 1878 for Emergency Operations Plan. This resolution approved and adopted by Parkside Borough Council. Whereas Section 7503 of the Pennsylvania Emergency Management Services Code 35 PA C.S. Section 701 mandates that Parkside Borough prepare, maintain, and keep current an emergency operations plan for the prevention and minimization of injury and damage caused by a major emergency or disaster within this borough. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Parkside Borough Council does hereby approve, adopt, and place into immediate effect the updated 2024 Emergency Operations Plan of Parkside Borough. This plan shall be reviewed every year to make certain that it conforms to the requirements of the Delaware County Emergency Operations Guideline. I'd like to make a motion on the said resolution.
Second.
Any questions on the motion? And I'd like to thank our Fire Marshal, Dan Smith, even though he's not here, for his efforts to this.
Yes, and just for a point of commentary, this is the 2024 Parkside Borough Emergency Operations Plan. It is somewhat lengthy in duration. It's approximately 45 pages. Makes great beach reading or by the pool this summer. But it's a very, very important document, and I know fire marshal, the police chief, fire chief, all had some input into this document. So I appreciate everybody's collective efforts in bringing this to fruition.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? So moved.
Next, ordinance adoption of ordinance 582, which is supplementing chapter 95 of the general code, garbage, rubbish, and refuse. Section 195-1 of the general code of the Borough of Parkside, entitled Disturbance of Containers Placement. Removal, section C of 95-1. Removal from curbside, all rubbish, trash, refuge, garbage, and recycling containers shall be removed from the street, sidewalk, or curb within 24 hours after the scheduled collection time. So I'd like to make a motion to adopt this ordinance.
Second.
Any questions on the motion?
And some just brief commentary on this ordinance as well. Again, we had tweaked this language. Initially, it was, we were requesting that those cans be removed after 24 hours of scheduled pickup. Based on some of the concerns of Borough Council at our last meeting, we agreed to extend that to 24 hours after the pickup. And again, the purpose, obviously, of this ordinance is we did have some citizens that were leaving their trash and recycling cans out there indefinitely. That is an aesthetic issue. It is a health and sanitation issue as well. So they are the really reasons and rationale behind this ordinance.
All those in favor? Did we do that yet?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? So moved.
Okay. There's a motion to amend Borough Code number 82. So we found a little glitch in this ordinance 82-9 for inspection fees. We would like to amend or add to say renewal applications. So basically what this ordinance, let me just read this, 82-9 inspection fee. Says there shall be a fee of $150 paid by the business owner or occupant of the subject premises payable to the Borough of Parkside for the performance of the inspection service provided in 82-8. The fire marshal or code enforcement officer shall receive half of the fee as compensation for their service, with the remainder of the fee collected to be retained by the Borough of Parkside. We would like to amend or add to say renewal applications shall be forwarded to all business owners on or before January 31st. The business shall be required to file the completed application and tender payment for the inspection fee to the borough on or before April 30th of each year. All inspections shall then be scheduled and completed on or before August 30th of each year. So we would like to amend this and then make a motion to advertise for that.
And so if it is the pleasure of council, I can certainly draft up a proposed ordinance for council's consideration at the August meeting. If council finds it satisfactory, we could then vote at the August monthly meeting to properly advertise that ordinance, again with the adoption to occur at the September monthly meeting. And again, this ordinance would only be applicable to commercial properties here in the borough, basically those properties in our commercial district along the Edgemont Avenue business corridor. And that is basically the annual fire safety inspection. Again, that is applicable to those businesses, again, basically along the Edgemont Avenue business corridor.
That's correct. And the only thing that will be amended is that we've never had a due date, a start date, a due date, and an end date. So that a business could apply December 30th and they have to be inspected by the 31st. So we're putting some structure to that. Did we have a second on that?
Second.
Just a quick question.
Yes.
What about new businesses? Somebody that would like to start, or is that like or is there a, I don't know, entrance fee for the business application when they kind of come on board? Does that start and then proactively go into that following year, or?
I would guess it's the same thing as a rental property, that there's leeway. That if somebody comes in, you know, we're thrilled to have a new business, so we're of course gonna work with them. Any other questions on the motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? So moved.
And that's everything.
Super, thank you. Public Works Property Report, Ms. Allison?
Thank you, Madam President. First, regarding the installation of the borough speed bumps, going back to that, specifically the purchase of the installation equipment that's needed for that. I'd like to make a motion to ratify the purchase specifically of the generator from Home Depot and the spikes from EcoSign, just to remind everybody who already have the speed bumps themselves, and not to exceed the cost of $1,000 for the installation of that, for the purchase of the installation equipment that I just mentioned. So I'd like to make a motion to ratify that purchase.
Second.
Thank you.
Any questions on the motion? All those in favor? All those opposed? So moved.
The rest is just general progress. The maintenance around the building, all the usual work is done. The borough properties are meticulously maintained by Ryan, including all the grass cutting and any other landscaping needs that, you know, go around the borough, everything from the borough building to the woodlot. All the storm drains continue to be maintained and cleared. Ryan, in addition to that, did have to cut up and remove a lot of large tree branches from the storms, and even trees that came down onto the streets from the woodlot. So he took care of all of that.
He has one more. It fell this afternoon.
Well, that's not shocking after last night's storms. I don't know what
He
time is
stopped
it now.
in the
Another
office.
round is
He
supposed to
stopped
come
in the
through, so
office
that's
about 2
just
o'clock.
crazy. So I was about to say, hoping no more trees or branches come down, but I guess I'll just cross that off of my report there. And with that, I just would like to, publicly recognize Ryan and everything that he does for the borough. I don't know what we would do without him. So, he takes care of all of that maintenance on a regular basis. And then when we need him for things like that, he's there. In addition to that, speaking from on behalf of the Recreation Committee, everything that he does for us with respect to that, he's a huge part of, he was a huge part of the 4th of July. He helps put up the tents and gets everything set up. Our community day. So he's a part of a lot of things that have to do with the borough here and keeping us running. So I just wanted to give him a shout out for that. And that's about all I have. General progress.
20 years too, isn't it?
He's going on 20 years next year.
Wow.
That's impressive, yeah, that's dedication.
Yeah.
So, yeah, thank you for saying that.
And yeah, we gotta,
Oh, yeah.
we have to
the
do
trees.
something for him
Yep.
next year. He's amazing. I mean,
Yeah, that is.
what a wonderful worker.
Like, not that any of it goes unnoticed, but I just want to make sure that people know how that
Yes.
stuff gets done.
Yes.
So,
And all that hate the 4th of July, and he was out there. and-
setting up, yeah.
Yeah.
And also to add to that, I've been seeing messages on our community site about residents seeing a tree down or something. So just remind residents to, if you notice that, to contact the borough. If there was one in the woodlot and I noticed it, I responded to the resident. I said, I'll let, our borough know. I contacted Bob actually to let Ryan know, and Ryan did go down that day. But so instead of putting it on Facebook, on social media under the borough community or Parkside Borough community page, let us know, because
Call the office.
call the office, because we're honestly just happened to be looking that day. I'm not always on there and noticed it.
We had an instance, so it was on Monday. There were 2 guys from Delcora. They're relining something down that way. And they came in and they said, we passed 3 of your residents, and they told us to report that there's a tree down. I said, okay, well, that's, so they're very resourceful. They'll ask anybody.
Not everybody's on social media, so
No.
call.
Yeah,
Mr.
please call
Rob
borough.
now.
If it's in the street too, you can call 911 and the fire department will cut it off and pull it to the side.
Thank you.
That also, yes.
Thank you, that's a great idea.
Yes, very good. Yeah.
Anything else?
That's it.
Super. Mr. Costigan, do you have anything for Hometown Heroes?
Madam President, I'd just like to report the Hometown Heroes Committee did meet last month. We have a plan in place going forward on getting some new banners in, hopefully, and resuming the application process. So we'll have some more information on that in the coming weeks.
Do you want to move on to recycling?
Sure. Our totals for the month of June, trash, we had 86.42 tons, and for recycling, we had 20.06 tons.
Super, thank you. Communication, Mrs. Haynes.
Yes, the second quarter newsletter is out. It is delivered to all of your homes, hand delivered by wonderful Ryan in this heat. I'm very grateful that it's out and before the council meeting. There's a lot of good information in here. In the back is our calendar, and inside is a lot of information about our council members. I did have a few residents come to me and say that they were, this is one of the first times they've seen the fire department visible in the community, and that they're excited about how visible they are and how engaged they are in the community. So thank you so much for being okay with them being in it, and all these other things, like Doug Bull doing the flag ceremony, that's fun. Check that out.
Good article.
And then you have the $100,000 vehicle grant with our police chief. And other than that, I'd like to report general progress.
I thank you so much. I thought it was a very good newsletter. It had a little tidbits here and there assorted. The fire company, PTL, any organization within us, our community, is part of our community. And I spoke with the mayor about having a flyer, or Mr. Platt and I spoke that maybe creating a back page that's strictly recreation, upcoming events and dates, like the night out would be the date, the time, where, when, what, and to have that prepared for the next edition. I think the residents would appreciate that. And you're right, Ryan was out very, very early distributing that. So great job. Thank you so much. The tax collector's report,
Madam President, I have two.
because I couldn't find one.
Yes, it was in a folder on my desk. My apologies. April 30th to May 24th, 2024, good evening. Treasurer has received a total of $1,287,311.52 to date. There was $327,758.49 in revenue deposits from April 30th to May 24th. For the period May 24th, 2024 to July 8th, Treasurer has received total of $1,355,647.61. There was $68,336.09 in revenue deposits from May 24th, 2024 to July 8th, 2024. Regards, Ed Fisher. That's all I have.
Super, thank you. We're going to keep moving into the engineer's report, Ms. Catania.
Thank you, Madam President. First, I want to apologize. I was all ready to go to the meeting Wednesday night when President of the Council called me to find out why I wasn't there on Tuesday night. So my apologies, my calendar did not get changed. I do have a few things that we need to talk about this evening. The first is that we have rebid the 2024 road program because of an advertising error. We're required to have 10 days from the date of the advertisement, the date it shows up in the newspaper, to the bid opening, and we only had 8. So we had to rebid that project. Again, we only had a sole contractor bid the project. It's AF Damon, and we have a cost of $44,274. I'm going to recommend award of that contract to AF Damon. I put a notification out to all of council so you know where the money is coming, the funding is coming from, and that would be my recommendation. I have the recommendation here for your record.
I'll entertain a motion to award the bid for the 2024 road program to AF Damon in the amount of $44,274.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions on the motion? All those in favor?
Uh,
Aye. All those opposed? So moved.
A couple other things that are going on. I completed a survey for the Delaware County watershed planning. There is going to be a new stormwater plan done, watershed plan for the eastern part of Delaware County. There is a group that is going to meet monthly to discuss various items. There's task force, and then there's a larger group. That meeting should be held shortly. I haven't gotten a notification for that. But we did complete a survey for things that are going on in various municipalities that we're representing. I did note that Parkside Borough, because we do not have a large portion of watershed that goes directly to the creek, that we did have some localized flooding. So we look at some inadequacies in the stormwater system. I think everybody's aware when it rains. Now, when I was growing up, you would have a storm and it would last most of the day, and it was rather light rain for a long period of time. That doesn't happen anymore. We have these very quick, very short rainstorms, and unfortunately, a lot of the storm systems are not designed to carry that kind of a flow as quickly as everyone would like it. So I did add that to it. We'll see where that goes in the scheme of things, but I wanted to mention that has been completed. And coincidentally, as the floodplain administrator for the borough, again, you have one little section of watershed to the Chester Creek. There was a floodplain survey that FEMA had requested that we prepare, so that was completed as well. We've closed out the Pico Green Region grant for West Cole Memorial. I didn't check, but there was an acknowledgement sign that we needed to put up over at the West Cole for the Greenways funding. Once that's completed and I get a photo of that, we can send that in to close out that grant as well, which bodes well for us because they'll see that the projects are moving forward. As far as the flashing beacons, you have a permit to operate those flashing beacons. That is not the question. The question is on, we received an automated notification that the permit was expiring in 30 days. That permit was for the construction. I went online, it says everything's been completed, everybody's checked off, the as-bills are accepted, etc. For some reason, we're still getting that the project wasn't closed out. I have a phone call into two different people, Anthony Antonelli, who is the director of permits for District 6, and also with Margot, who I think probably doesn't have anything to do with any of this. If need be, I call the help desk and see if the help desk can get that resolved. So we'll get another one that says we have 14 days before it expires. So it's an automation. I don't know why it's happening, but anything that has to be completed has already been completed and reviewed and accepted by PennDOT. Good.
It's good news.
Just FYI. And I believe that is all I have for this evening.
Super, thank you. Any questions for our engineer? Moving on to our solicitor's report, Mr. Wells.
Yes, thank you, Madam President, and a most good evening, ladies and gentlemen. The July 17th solicitor's report is as follows. Number one, I had spoken earlier about the new borough ordinance that was adopted here this evening And again, we had made those amendments, which now would require all rubbish and recycling cans to be removed from the street, sidewalk, or curb within 24 hours after the scheduled collection time. Number two, our ever-present right to know law request. Again, my office continues to work diligently with the open records officer in responding to multiple right to know law requests. Two interesting cases of note have recently been decided by the state's open records office. In the first case, it was decided that a municipality is not required to respond to a right to know law request from an anonymous source where the requester fails to identify himself, herself, or itself, and simply request that documents be forwarded to a particular email address. Under the right to know law, a requester must be a natural person that is a legal resident of the United States. A requester can also be, again, a corporation, a partnership, a limited liability company, or other legal recognized entity under the law. And then number two, in a second case, a resident made a right to know law request for a list of properties in a particular borough that have open code violations that have not been resolved. The state's open records office ruled that such a list is not a public record, as they are considered, quote, non-criminal investigations, unquote, and therefore exempt from Section 708, subsection 17 of the right to know law. 3, emergency operations plan for the borough. As I indicated earlier, my office had adopted the appropriate resolution, again, adopting and placing it into immediate effect, the updated Parkside Borough 2024 Emergency Operations Plan. And again, that is in compliance with Section 7503 of the Pennsylvania Emergency Management Services Code. Number 4, franchise agreement between the Borough of Parkside and Comcast. As you may or may not know, the borough entered into a cable franchise agreement back in 2009, granting a non-exclusive franchise to Comcast of southeastern Pennsylvania to construct, install, maintain, extend, and operate a cable communication system here in the borough. I have recently received communication from Comcast Director of Government Affairs requesting an extension of that agreement, which has technically expired. Comcast has also forwarded to me a proposed draft agreement, again, rather lengthy in duration. Again, I will be reviewing that particular document in the coming weeks and shall provide to council any recommendations regarding changes and revisions thereto. Number 5, cybersecurity policy for Parkside Borough. I have reviewed and am recommending for approval this evening a proposed cybersecurity policy, the adoption of which is a prerequisite for the borough to obtain cybersecurity insurance. The cybersecurity policy is a formal set of rules by which those people who are given access to borough technology and information assets must abide. The main purpose is to inform borough users, such as employees, contractors, and other authorized users, of their obligatory requirements for protecting the technology and information assets of the borough. The Policy describes the technology and information assets that we must all protect and identifies many of the threats to those assets. Again, the policy also describes the user's responsibilities and privileges, what is considered acceptable practices, the rules regarding internet access, and procedures for responding to incidents that threaten security of the borough computer systems and network. I know earlier the borough secretary had forwarded a copy of that cybersecurity policy to all of borough council. And therefore, if it is the pleasure of borough council, a motion would be in order to adopt said cybersecurity policy.
I will make that motion.
Second.
Any questions on the motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? So moved.
Sixth, I wish to publicly congratulate Councilwoman Haynes, who 10 days ago made the front page of the Delaware County Daily Times. And again, that article was in a very positive light as it highlighted Ms. Haynes' public service to the borough and to the fire company. Certainly that is good news. And finally, Madam President, I can report general progress.
She also made the TV news too.
And I think we're all very extremely proud of Sarah and her efforts in the fire company being in a positive light.
Mhm.
And it's Parkside proud.
It's all the leadership above me, the new leadership.
You're doing great. And a quick side note for our solicitor, I've been informed that he just had a birthday. Happy birthday.
Just a number.
And that's all it is. Mine
Just
keeps
still celebrating?
keeps increasing. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we have called as citizens if anybody would wish to address council concerning government questions or concerns. Government questions or concerns.
Hi, Lisa Cottrell on East Avon Road. I just have a question, since trash ordinances and things were brought up. What is, it's great and all with the cans, I agree, sometimes people leave their cans out far too long. What is the borough, and I should know, I could probably look this up, but again, people get lazy. What is the situation with, are people required to have cans with lids that are secure?
The reason we had that is because people were leaving cans out 24/7.
Oh, no, that's fine, I understand.
And we do have an ordinance that was not specific to when the can was to go back. And there is an ordinance that requires you to have a lid on your can if you're using your can. Yes.
I just asked that because like frequently,
That
and
is
on
another
lots of streets,
sanitary issue.
there's like
birds,
12 bags left
pigeons,
out without without
Yes.
cans.
rodents,
Yeah, it's gross, okay.
and just sometimes the smell that's emanated,
This time of year.
especially.
Especially in the summer, it's
months.
quite bad. Okay,
tends to-
okay. All right, thank you, that's all I just. Oh, and also about trash, sorry if I may ask one more. Could we clarify what is, for, I know as it's gonna come up for renewal again or a new contract to be bid out, what is the situation with, I know right now it's bulk trash is every Friday, correct? But how many, I mean, I see sometimes people leaving out like 5 things. I see, so I don't know what the,
Initially, and Mr. Platt corrected me a couple of meetings ago, initially, I was informed that every Friday you could put up 1 item.
yeah, that's what I had heard.
But now they're saying 3 items
No,
every,
it used to be 3 items last Friday of the month.
right, now they're moving it to
And
every
in talking to
Friday.
Louis, he says if we could do 1 item every Friday, that way their truck doesn't get overloaded on the last Friday of
Right.
the month, and they have to bypass me.
And I've seen it where people have had 2 and 3 items on the middle of the middle of the month Friday, and they still take it. So we've been very fortunate. Anybody else wish to address council before we move on?
If you do, I would just like to say, if you do leave items out that aren't on the necessary days, please tip them.
At least offer them some cold water.
Yes.
I know. Teaches them, need to come to the podium.
Good evening, council. I'm Michelle Jackson from Delcora. We are the municipality that handles wastewater for the county. And I wanted to, I'm sure it's non-governmental, but I wanted to make sure that I introduce myself because my position as community engagement outreach coordinator is new to Delcora and new to the county. And I wanted to make sure that all of our ratepayers and our neighbors understand that we do have some resources available for neighbors who need help or support in paying their wastewater bill. So I do have my business cards here. I'll make sure all the council are able to receive those. And I actually have instructions and next steps for any of our neighbors who need that type of help or support throughout the year.
And I thank you so much for attending. If you could give Mr. Plan, our secretary, your information, and he will forward it to everyone in the morning.
Okay.
So that we all have a contact in case there's an emergency with one of our residents or ourselves.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
And it's not even for like an emergency. If you come in contact with anyone that just knows that they need help,
Yes.
they can I have all the information here and
That's
they can reach out to us, so
Thank
it's
you
not
so
last
much.
minute. Yep, sure.
Thank you.
May I ask one quick question?
Yes, sure, moment, please.
Years ago, they had a real nice piece of paper that literally said, what can go in your drain?
Yes.
Yep.
And it was like, no medicines, no, it
Yep.
was just really nice. It would be really nice if we could maybe get a new copy of that.
Yeah, there actually was one that went out last month or in the last mailer. But I can make sure that I can get some of those for
Even just a copy, so maybe we
Yeah.
can just put it on our website.
Yeah,
just some of those
absolutely.
things that-
And we could add it to not only the website, but Miss Sarah for her newsletter, a little tip column.
Yes. And I'll be available or I'm open to work with the borough on any outreach or any events that you guys have coming up. We do have our annual community day coming up on October 19th. So when I get that flyer, I'll reach out and share that as well. So you can put it on your website and let your neighbors know it's open to all of our neighbors, all of our family, all of our friends. There'll be music, there'll be food, and folks will be able to tour the wastewater treatment plant. The council is also invited for a road trip if you guys want to go on a field trip and come out. I host walkthrough Wednesdays, every other Wednesday in the spring and in the fall, so that our neighbors can understand what we do and how we impact our neighbors and the environment, and you know exactly what the process is for wastewater and how it affects everything.
We already had our community day in May, so we'll do it again next May. Mayor Roman is in charge of the recreation. Maybe you could grab her after the meeting with your business card so that we can invite your organization to the next community day or any other event that she may have planned. in the
Absolutely,
future.
absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Last thing, your police department and fire department are also invited to come out to to do a tour of the plant so that you can know what our emergency systems are. I know we work closely with Chester's fire department and their police department, especially with our chlorine services there. So I want to make sure that everyone in the borough knows that we're available for you to come out and learn exactly what is going on down there, not just for emergency purposes, but for your own knowledge. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Last call, anybody wishes to address council? If not, we're gonna move on to old, oops.
Mike Sweeney, East Shelton. I've heard the name Ryan come up several times.
I'm sorry?
Ryan's name has come up several times. I mean, a pat on the back is really nice, and I'm sure he appreciates it, but how about something like maybe taking some of the available funds and like give him a little something like a trip to Disney World or something for the certificate, or something that he would really appreciate. Because his service, we all recognize it and appreciate it.
He'll be coming up, had spoken with our prior secretary 2 years ago, to get an idea of how long they've been here. I believe he'll be coming up 20 years next year.
Wow.
And I certainly think that council
And that would be a
then
good time to
will.
give them those donuts.
You know, maybe personally a chocolate cake and a flag. But we all commend him for his work.
Yep.
Thank you for mentioning. Ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna move on to old business. Does anybody on council have any old business or new business?
Under new business,
Yes, sir.
would you mind if I offer condolences?
None at all.
Oh, perfect. I would like to publicly, from the Borough of Parkside, offer condolences to the Ellis family and the Pendelco wrestling family on the passing of Coach Tommy Ellis. He was a dynamic coach, and there were so many nice stories that were shared about him at the luncheon after his passing. And he's also a beloved family member. So please keep him and his family and the team in your prayers. Thank you.
Condolences to the family and prayers.
Madam President,
Yes, sir.
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for your time tonight.
If I didn't talk so